start. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us today. I hope you're having a fabulous Thursday. Thank you for joining on our fourth workshop this year. I can't believe it's the fourth out of six. We're cutting it close to October 21st, El Paso Giving Day. But today I'm really excited about our topic on peer-to-peer fundraising. Today we have Kris Eschman and Joan DeFlipo. I hope I'm saying all of those names correctly, who are nonprofit professionals and fundraising, peer-to-peer fundraising experts. They'll be discussing best practices on effective peer-to-peer fundraising to ultimately enhance your organization's El Paso Giving Day campaign and meet your overall fundraising goals. So just a short little background. These are some phenomenal women. They are pretty humble about their expertise, and I'm just so excited that they're here today to share with us. So Kris is a passionate leader with 20 years of experience in nonprofit fundraising and event production, strategic planning, data analysis, training, and sponsor cultivation. She works with nonprofit clients to boost revenue through peer-to-peer fundraising and other data and mission-driven strategies. She empowers and guides clients through the process of identifying goals and developing and implementing a plan to achieve those goals, which is honestly a really tough position you're in sometimes, having those conversations. In her most recent full-time position, she was a senior manager of field resource development at NAMI. She was a principal on the National Walk. She was a principal on the National Walk series, which raised over $56 million in her 5-year tenure, which is pretty tremendous. And she led the transition during the pandemic to a virtual event series, NAMI Walks Your Way, which raised over $10 million in 2020, 81% of the previous year's total, which is phenomenal for a virtual campaign. So thank you, Kris, so much for joining us today. Along with Kris, we have Joan DeFlipo, who is also a tremendous fundraising professional with over 20 years of fundraising experience. She has experience with national and local organizations and has fundraised tens of thousands of dollars for these nonprofits. And she currently manages a national walk program, which really emphasizes on peer-to-peer fundraising. So thank you, ladies, so much for joining us today, and I'll let you all take it away.
Thank you, Casey, and I want to give a shout out to Isidro, and thank you for inviting us to do this. This is my favorite thing to talk about, is peer-to-peer fundraising. So hopefully we have some information that helps you raise lots of money on El Paso Giving Day, and yeah, we're just excited to be here and welcome questions. So let's see, I'm going to share my screen.
Yes. Oh, and I'm so sorry I did not mention this. If anyone does have a question throughout Joan's or Kris's presentation, they are open to answering them on the spot to lead that conversation. So if you have a question, you can put it in the chat, or you can raise your hand, and I will be monitoring that so that you can unmute yourself and ask your question in case something does arise.
Yes, thank you, Casey. All right, let's see. Oops. Helps if you start at the beginning. Give me one sec. My goodness. All right. Try that one more time. Okay, so Joan and I are here to talk about peer-to-peer fundraising. And let's see, Casey did a beautiful job introducing us. I was impressed with our descriptions. I don't know that I live up to that, but it sounds really good on paper. So, all right, so Joan, you want to talk about this?
Yep. Thanks everyone for having us today. We are really excited to be here. Kris and I love to talk about fundraising. And today's agenda will have what is peer-to-peer fundraising, recruiting fundraisers, providing tools, coaching and encouragement, and thank you, thank you, thank you.
So Joan and I could each talk about peer-to-peer fundraising for days, but we tried to boil it down to kind of the most important pieces. So let's see. It is not advancing for me. There we go. All right, what is peer-to-peer fundraising? Well, I think the important thing to differentiate is the difference between a donor and a fundraiser. And I apologize if this is, too elementary for folks, but I hear these terms interchanged a lot in the people that I work with. And I think it's really important to just differentiate. Your donor is someone who gives either money or an in-kind donation or something to your organization. And then a fundraiser is someone who's going to solicit donations from their network on your behalf. So big difference. Your successful fundraisers should also be donors. So really, we want to try to figure out how do we transition people from donors into fundraisers. And I really like this graphic. It kind of shows exactly why that's so important. On the left is your traditional fundraising or even crowd raising. Our organization A wants to raise $50,000 to do X, and you reach out to your usual folks, your stakeholders, your board, your donors, your volunteers, and you ask for donations for that purpose. In peer-to-peer fundraising, where it's different is you're going to try to recruit fundraisers. So hopefully some of those same folks, and then you're encouraging them to reach out to their networks. And that actually can be magical. So not only do you reach their networks, but quite often, especially if they're sharing on social media, you're going to get their network's network. So I think Joan will talk about that in a little bit, but we've both done personal peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns where we get donations from people we've never heard of. And then it turns out they're a friend of somebody who donated or somebody who talked about it or shared our fundraising campaign. So that's pretty cool. All right, so peer-to-peer fundraising in a nutshell is basically you're harnessing the people that already support your organization and encouraging them to fundraise on your behalf. So we always start with that low-hanging fruit. Who are the people who are already connected to you? They're the easiest to get to fundraise for you. And then those folks are going to ask their networks to donate. And they're asking them to donate because your organization or your mission is really important to them. And that's really important. So having your fundraisers reaching out on your behalf does two things. And obviously it brings in donors you would not otherwise reach, people that might not even know you exist. So you're reaching new people. And then your fundraisers' public support, when they're sending emails or they're posting on social media about their fundraiser and about supporting you, that gives you all kinds of awareness you wouldn't get, and also legitimacy. So you're now no longer an organization maybe somebody's heard of, but you've got this support from somebody that they care about and respect. So it gives you some really great legitimacy in their eyes. And then a piece we forget a lot is that your supporters, your fundraisers, form deeper connections to your organization. So they leave after doing a fundraising campaign for you, more bonded to your organization and more likely to step into positions of leadership and volunteer and donate and fundraise in the future, because they're getting affirmation from you as they fundraise. You're thanking them and telling them how wonderful they are. And then they get that affirmation from getting donations from their friends and family. It feels kind of like Christmas when those come through. You get that first email that says you got a donation on your fundraiser, and it's so exciting. And it's like, these people care about me, and they're supporting something I care about. So it's a great way to really get people more engaged with your organization. And then finally, this is another sort of illustration of the magic of peer-to-peer. So on the left this is your organization, and these are the people that you would normally reach out to. And the statistics say that 1 in 2,400 people will say yes to a donation request from a nonprofit, but 1 in 4 people will say yes to a donation request from a friend. So they're reaching more people because they're asking donors you would never ask, and they're getting a higher success rate or a higher yes rate. All right, Joan, I'll let you talk about how we get these fundraisers.
Awesome. So today, obviously, we're going to talk, how do you recruit your fundraisers? This is crucial to know the difference between, as Kris said, the donor and the fundraiser. You can go to the next. The four most important, in our opinion, to get involved is your board members. So a lot of people overlook their board members as fundraisers, and that is, as Kris said, your low-hanging fruit. Your staff should also become fundraisers, as well as your volunteers. And I'm going to go into this a little bit further, but the most important fundraiser could actually be your donors. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. Donor-centric solicitations raise double compared to mission-focused messages. It's exactly what Kris was talking about before. When you ask somebody to donate to you and you tell them why it's important to you, they're going to donate to you because maybe you're a longtime friend, or maybe they have a tie to the mission, but they don't necessarily want to donate except you're telling them why. So it's important to say to your fundraisers that they need to create that story and tell their reasons why they are fundraising. I often see on Facebook, let's say for a breast cancer organization, somebody will just put up the post on the Facebook page.
Pues es que me salí.
Whereas if you tell your reason why you're fundraising, you will see people react to that more often. So what I tell our fundraisers is put your reason out there. Even if you don't want to share all of the details, say, I am participating in XYZ because this is important to me because of ABC. People will read that. If you just simply post a picture on there, people kind of go by it thinking maybe it's an ad, or again, it's focused on the organization rather than on you yourself and what your reasons are. Donor-centric is using the you language. So what this means is you are putting that into your solicitation. So when you ask somebody for a donation, you would say, "Dear Kris, I would like to let you know about this important mission and what you can do to help me." When you put that in there, the person feels very important. They feel worthy of you're asking them personally. And it's not just a, hey, can you donate to me because I have to raise $100 to get a t-shirt type of thing. People like to know how they can help you. And when you use these words, they are going to be more likely to donate to you. And this is how you can tell your fundraising audience what to do when you give them examples of the you language.
Joan, do you mind if I jump in for a second?
Yep.
I heard this described in a way that that really resonated with me, is that as nonprofits, we're so used to talking about how great we are and the work that we do and really promoting our brand. And, we're doing these amazing things. But donor-centric language would be more how the donor can make an impact. So instead of saying we're so great, it's you're so important to us. And without you, we wouldn't be able to do these great things we're doing. I think you said that, but
that's a good point. So some examples of this, using the donor-centric language, you can say, because of you, I was able to raise $10,000. With your help, this mission will be carried further. Your participation is crucial for us to be able to carry out our mission. Thanks to your support, we reached our goal. You make X possible. We couldn't do it without you. You are part of our community. What does your support mean to us? And we need you to take action. By putting in you and your, people are more in tune to reading that and saying, oh my goodness, they need me. Everyone wants to be needed and everybody wants to help. That's just a natural thing that we all like to do. And when you use these key words here and these statements, that's when you're going to see some results.
I'm having sticky keyboard issues where it won't change the slide for me. But okay, so we've talked about who you want to reach out to and, using some of that you-centric, that you language, why they are so important. And then the next piece is providing tools and making that it as easy as possible for people to fundraise for you. So I know Casey's going to show in a little bit how to create a fundraising page, but you want to make that as easy as possible by giving people language to use. So we do talk about the importance of telling their stories. And I know you guys had a workshop on that a couple of weeks ago, and the storytelling is so important. But there are going to be people who aren't comfortable telling their stories or who say they don't have time. And so you want to give those people some language they can use about your organization and your mission to make it as easy as possible. So, right, encourage them to tell their organization, tell their story. And then I have a couple of examples, and you could share examples exactly like this with your potential fundraisers. So I support NAMI El Paso because the education support and advocacy they provide to people affected by mental illness in our community is more important now than ever. My family has personally benefited from their programs and we want to help pay it forward. Please make a donation and help me reach my goal of raising $2,500 for NAMI El Paso by October 21st, El Paso Giving Day. And another example, I just picked fun organizations I found on the El Paso Giving Day page. So I love to read and I'm excited to support Books Are Gems because their mission to inspire children and empower families through literature really speaks to me. Books Are Gems gives a free bag of books to every parent that visits their storefront each week. They really are changing lives in El Paso one book at a time. My goal is to raise $500 for Books Are Gems, which will give a new book to 250 children. Please make a donation to support this fantastic organization. So if I wanted to raise money for Books Are Gems and they gave me that paragraph, I can put that directly on my social media. I could tweak it and make it a little more, my story. But you've then given the fundraiser the tools that they need to create their fundraising page, to post on social media with the link to their fundraising page, and you've made it as easy as possible for them. So a summary of that, basically provide sample language, make it as easy that they can just cut and paste it. And I know El Paso Giving Day has given a lot of great tools to the organizations participating. And so it's you guys taking that same idea and giving it to your fundraisers. We don't want people to have to spend tons of time and feel like they don't have time to do this for you. So you could give them language that explains the work you do in short, simple sentences. So we all have our beautiful sentence long mission statements and visions, and they're wonderful. But if you just needed to boil it down really simply, what do you do? And give people that sentence to use in their fundraising pages and their posts. So there are a couple of examples here. We find forever homes and save the lives of hundreds of animals each year. Okay, and again, sticky keyboard. I don't know what's happening. There we go. Okay. So another thing you want to provide for people is give them graphics, just like El Paso Giving Day gives to you guys. And also images they can use. So these things they can put in their emails, they can put on their fundraising pages, they can use in their social media, and it'll really grab somebody's attention. So I created the graphic on the left in Canva in 3 minutes. And I don't claim to be a graphic artist, but just kind of showing you how quick it is to make some graphics for people to use on their social media and their emails. And then these photos, I actually took them straight from, let's see, Franklin Mountain Wilderness Coalition's Facebook page. So you guys have the photos already out there. Just give them to people to use. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but it just as easy as you can make it for people to fundraise for you. And there we go. And then going back to that donor-centric language we talked about, in the blurbs that you're going to give people that they can use, go ahead and put in some of that donor-centric language because they're reaching out to potential donors. So you can add in sentences like, your donation will help JFON El Paso provide legal assistance for immigrants navigating the immigration system. Support my fundraising for Special Olympics Texas El Paso, and you will be helping change the lives of more than 2,300 people. So you can see you can use that you-centric language again in the tools that you provide. Okay.
This is probably my favorite part is the coaching and encouragement, because I think that when you talk to fundraisers, the first thing that I always hear is, I'm not a fundraiser. And my own family is a perfect example. When I rope them into all of my fundraising that I do, they all tell me, well, that's your job. I don't know how to fundraise. And I, of course, tell them how they're going to fundraise. I encourage them and I coach them and I basically tell them they're going to do it. The key thing is you ask everyone. You never know who's connected. Going back to Kris's graphic of the person in the middle and then the people outside that and then the people outside that, a great example is a friend of mine, she would be the person in the middle, had sent out a fundraising letter for a breast cancer watch she was doing, and she had a minimum donation to raise. And she sent it to her whole network and asked them to forward the email. Her brother forwarded it. And next thing you know, out of his network, the third circle, she received a $2,300 donation. Her minimum was met because a gentleman who her brother worked with, his mother had just been diagnosed with breast cancer. So he gave her all of the money she needed. She continued to fundraise, which is another important thing. She was encouraged by her coaches there to say, this is great that you've met your fundraising goal, but imagine all the other people who you can reach and spread the awareness to. So it's also not only just about the fundraising, it's also about the awareness of it. So you just give them that encouragement that they need, make them realize that it's okay. You're not asking people to put gas in your car or food on your table. And that's the way I think of it as a fundraiser myself. Even though I've been doing this personally, as well as professionally for over 20 years, I still get nervous when I'm putting out a fundraising ask. And I don't know why, but it's just something that makes me a little bit uncomfortable. So I have to step out of my comfort zone and say, I am raising money because this is important to me. And when I express that to people, the donations come in. And as Kris said, once that first donation comes in, your fundraisers get that, oh my gosh, I can do this. And I often, every event I've done, I've had to raise my goal because I surpass it pretty quickly because people are generous and people do want to give. And then it's inspiring. So many people have told me by what you're doing, you're raising money for mental health, you're raising money for breast cancer, you're raising money for the military, whatever it is, I'm inspiring people and letting them know what's important to me. And it goes back to the you centric. I say to them, because you helped me reach this goal, I am able to raise my goal. And I always put on mine, we raise this together. I'm not the one who raised it. It's everybody out there who helped me. So that's in other wording that I use as well.
And Joan, you said one of my favorite things when it comes to encouragement, when people reach their fundraising goal, make sure you reach out and congratulate them. That's fantastic. You reached your fundraising goal. And then the next thing you say is, how about you increase that? Because you don't want their potential donors coming to their page and seeing that they've reached their goal of $1,000 and then not donating because they don't think that, the money is necessary. And I would say the same thing for your organization. If you reach your fundraising goal before El Paso Giving Day, fantastic, and make sure you're increasing it. And you can advertise that, like, hey guys, we are so excited. We've had such overwhelming support that we've doubled our fundraising goal, and we know you can help us get there.
And I would add to that, Kris, you reminded me of something in my current role right now. We had to increase our goal. We had 3 spring virtual events and the East Coast was doing phenomenal. We raised their goal 3 different times and they surpassed even our final goal. And when I was making phone calls to my fundraisers, there was a woman, I left a voicemail and I said, Mary, I noticed that you set your goal at 1,000. You're already at 1,500. Would you consider raising your goal? She called me back. She raised her goal and her team's goal. Mary herself raised $4,800 and her team raised close to $10,000. And she said nobody had ever told her to do this before. Nobody had suggested it. She said, I just figured I raised my money and I was done. And now she has set her goal next year for $7,000 already in her team goal for $15,000. So sometimes it's just a simple putting the idea into somebody's head and making them realize that this is so important, something that they can do.
Absolutely. That's my favorite thing, is raising goals.
Mine too. So you want to communicate frequently. This is so important. Everything is about communication. And when fundraisers put out a fundraising ask, it generally takes 3 times before somebody will donate. You will get those Johnny on the spot who donate right away. But then you get some people who are like, oh yeah, I didn't see your Facebook post, or, oh, I meant to, and I forgot, or I got your email or your text. So it does take generally 3 times. That's, the average that the industry says will happen. And my own personal favorite thing to say is, until it's a no, it's a yes. So I will keep asking until somebody flat out says, I'm not donating to you. I will keep asking. So you want to reach out to your fundraisers, encourage them to reach out to their networks often. So an example is for 10/14, do the early giving starts today, make an impact, put out the messaging toward that. And then on October 17th, just a few more days of early giving, you want to really charge people up and make them realize, oh my gosh, it's coming. Then on the 20th, tomorrow is the big day. A lot of these people will read yours on the 14th and be, oh yeah, I still have a week. And then the 17th, oh, I still have time. And then they say, oh my gosh, it's tomorrow. We've all been there in various situations in our lives. And then on the 21st, email by 8 a.m. Today is El Paso Giving Day. The beauty of emails now is you can schedule them. So you could do your email on the 18th and just set it to send on the 21st by 8 a.m. My favorite is to send at 6 a.m. because then people, they log in for their email at work and it's usually the first one that's there. You want to post on social media at least 2 to 3 times with updates on your progress. So right now I am hosting a fundraiser and I have a post on my social media. It's not a Facebook fundraiser. This is a personal one my family and I are doing. And every time somebody donates, I tag them on Facebook. So my post keeps coming up each time I make a comment. And then inevitably it leads to somebody else either liking it or saying, oh my gosh, I forgot to donate. Social media, that's the beauty of it. Every time you comment, it'll bring it forward. And sometimes if you make it a public post, somebody else will see it. And this happened to me when I was raising money for American Heart Association. I received a $25 donation because my friend donated. It was public on the Facebook fundraiser. Her personal trainer donated because his dad was a heart survivor, a heart attack survivor. So I just reached out to this gentleman. I said, I have no idea who you are. He told me this means a lot to me. So this is the beauty of the world we live in right now with social media. And then on the 22nd, you might want to post, it's not too late to donate and help us meet our goal. There's always ways you can still get people to donate, even if they missed the day and people think, oh, I skated by. They didn't skate by. You can still get them to donate after.
Sorry, I'm having, we skipped a slide. This is the one, Joan, when I was going through earlier, it skipped it.
Yep. So the best way to get people to sign up is you can hold a contest or an incentive and they can create for them to create their fundraising page. So you would say something like, if you create a fundraising page by October 7th, your name will be put into a drawing to win XYZ. Get local people to donate something to you, maybe a restaurant gift certificate, or some people, Kris and I worked together and there was a place, an organization that donated a weekend away at this absolutely beautiful cabin. And I'm working with an organization right now that for everybody who raises a certain amount of money by a certain date, their name will be put into a drawing for a 10-day trip to the Caribbean, everything paid for. That was by a generous donor. So, you know, people will be doing that. Something as simple as a tote bag or a drawstring bag. That's what my organization currently does. For early registrations, we mail them each a tote bag. And it's a win-win. People want to sign up early to get free things. People love free things. And then your branded merchandise is out there. So when somebody's carrying that bag, and our CEO just said the other day, she was stopped at the farmer's market because she had her canvas tote bag and somebody stopped her to talk about her organization. So it's worth the investment for you to spend that money. The return on investment is usually tenfold.
I am trying to advance the slides. Remind me not to use Google Sheets for my slides next time around. Not sure. Here, we'll go. Sorry, we're going to do this not so elegantly. All right. Joan, this is you, right?
And the last part you want to do is thank you, thank you, thank you. You can really never say thank you too much. And 3 important people to thank. You want to thank your fundraisers, obviously. And thanking your fundraisers can be extremely creative because what I like to do is say thank you to our fundraisers and then remind them that they can still continue fundraising. So at our organization, we do a recognition gift. So 30 days after the event is when we technically close our fundraising. But that way I thank them right after the event. I send out my survey and thank them. And then I remind them, but you can still earn that gift if you continue fundraising for the 30 days. We saw a 7% increase with our spring events for that because again, people like items and it's free advertising for you. So somebody's walking around wearing our hoodie or our cap or whatever it is, and people will stop and ask them. And Kris and I were up in Michigan a couple of years ago, and we saw somebody wearing NAMI merchandise, and we were both like, oh my gosh. And of course we had to stop and talk to the person because we both worked for NAMI at the time. So that simple thank you, the person wearing the t-shirt, led to another conversation. And then you have your fundraisers thanking the donors. This is so important. I am somebody who I not only thank them on Facebook when I tag them, I also thank them through email. And then I also send a handwritten thank you note. I cannot tell you how many people have told me, because I send that handwritten thank you note, they will donate to me year after year after year. And in my thank you note, I also will say, I'll be looking forward to your donation next year, because I know they're going to. And to spend that money, you can get a postcard and just use a less expensive stamp or something simple. People really like that personal touch, because as we all know, snail mail has kind of gone by the wayside. And to get something in the mail that's exciting rather than a solicitation, people do like that. And then the most important part is thanking your donors. When you thank your donors, this is your chance to say to them, this is what you did for us. Again, going back to the use Centric, in all of your thank you notes, you can tell your, as a fundraiser, you can tell your donor, you were able to provide 35 meals. You were able to provide, books for 25 people. Anything that you can say, bringing it back to them. As I said earlier, I don't say I fundraised, I say we fundraised. So this is a perfect chance for you to tell your donors thank you and ask them to get involved in many different ways. So Kris and I called this your golden opportunity. When you as an organization reach out to your donors and let them know what they did for you, this is the chance to turn them into either a participant, a bigger donor, maybe a board member. Maybe you want them to sit on your board. Maybe they want to volunteer with you. There are so many options when you thank a donor and then they get more involved in your organization. Don't let that golden opportunity pass you by, because that's your chance to get them and say, this is what our organization needs. An example, again, from my own personal life, I donated to Stop Soldier Suicide. They reached out to me to do a fundraiser for them. They said, we saw your comment on Erin's page. She was doing a push-up challenge. That was so nice of you to encourage her. How would you like to become a fundraiser for us? So organizations, when you take that minute to say, oh my gosh, this donor has a tie to the mission, let's get them. Again, golden opportunity that you don't want to miss.
I think that's true, Joan, and that's probably the one thing I see people miss the most often, right? So in peer-to-peer fundraising, if I ask my Uncle Bob to donate, he's donating because I asked. But how does the organization know that he also doesn't have a really strong connection? So the organization, you need to be thanking those donors and then asking them if they want to hear more about your mission, if they want to receive a phone call to learn about the services you provide, if they want to join your email list. But if you just say thank you and leave it at that, you're really missing out on the whole like magic of peer-to-peer, which is getting all of those people from the network that you would not normally otherwise touch. Great, and I think that concludes our slides. Thank goodness, because I was having such a hard time with them.
Thank you, Kris. Thank you, Joan. That was awesome. Just to go over a couple questions. We had a question from EPHSI PAL program, and my apologies if you did already answer it. They asked, how long before events should we send out a letter asking for support? Will we lose momentum if it is too far out?
That's a great question, and I'll let Joan weigh in too. I think for something like this, for Giving Day, it's a little different, and I would say your timeline is more condensed because you've got this, one day that you're really trying to get people to focus on giving, and then early giving the week before. So I'd start trying to recruit fundraisers. I mean, really, you could send something now and say, hey, it's coming up. Keep this on the back of your head. We're gonna want your support. And then somewhere right at the beginning of October, that's when I would do it. I think for a walk or something like that, we tend to see, more like 3 to 4 months out, but I don't think for a day like this, I would do it that early. How about you, Joan?
I completely agree. I would say a few weeks at the most. And I was thinking in my head, we're opening up our spring walks this month. and encouraging people to start their fundraising, but that's a totally different situation. I do think there's such a thing as asking too early and people forgetting, but there's also that whole key piece to what I said before. Sometimes people don't read that email. I'm terrible at personal emails right now. I have no desire to open them because it's, buy this and buy that, we're reducing the prices. So I'm avoiding my personal email at all costs. But when I do go to it and I see one, I am somebody who reacts right away and says, okay, I'm going to do that donation. But there have been a few that have gotten past me. So a reminder is also good. So on the same note of when should I start? Also, how often? I think there is a sweet spot with that. You don't want to inundate people with the same kind of emails. So make it a catchy subject. Kris and I, when we were working together, we liked doing the subject that's going to grab the person. And we worked with somebody that said in their subject line, oh my gosh, did you see this or whatever? And it was spammed because people assume it's going to be, some link that's going to create mass destruction in your email box. So it's very important that you make it something that's going to get somebody to open it, as well as not too early or not too late as well.
Great, thank you, ladies. That was a great response. That definitely timing is everything. So I'm gonna, if no one else has any questions, and if you need a time to formulate a question, this was such amazing information, tidbits of knowledge that was just provided to us. So if you need to write it down, kind of think about it a little bit, I can come back for some questions, but I am just going to share my screen really quickly with everyone to go over how to create a peer-to-peer fundraising page through the El Paso Giving Day site. So go to elpasogivingday.org. You're going to register. It'll say register and sign into your account, and then you'll be led to your organization's, your pages that you are a member of. But on the side over here, it's going to say organizations, my donations. These are donations that you gave as a donor, and then fundraising. And these are your fundraising pages. Now, see, I have one already created for Paso del Norte Community Foundation. Here, if you don't have one already, it'll just be blank. But you're going to add an organization to fundraise for, similarly to registering for El Paso Giving Day. And let's say you're going to have a drop down. So a fundraiser can only fundraise for an organization that is registered for El Paso Giving Day, and if they are re-registered for El Paso Giving Day for the 2021 year. The deadline to register this year is September 21st. So if you have not yet done it or are unsure if your organization has registered, please feel free to reach out to me so we can get you registered before the deadline. So just for this example, I'll go ahead and fundraise for Casa of El Paso, and I'm going to put a goal amount. It does have to be over $100. So I'll just put $100, and now it's listed underneath my fundraising pages. When I click edit, it's going to ask me to edit the goal amount. Now there's a different option to edit the actual page to actually customize it, similarly to when you customize your organization's page. You will go to edit fundraising page, and here it'll have it for your first one. And then I believe when you change the option, you move it up or down, that's where you can edit the fundraising page. And there's a little bit of a glitch right there, but we will fix that, not to worry. So we'll have edit fundraising page, and then we click here, we type in a story, similarly to what Kris and Joan spoke about of why we're supporting this organization. I would encourage, if you want to, it would be best to provide that caption or just a kind of an overall paragraph with some blank information so that it could be customizable. Definitely recommend that, especially for board members who will be creating a fundraising page. Do not put I love Casa El Paso, I love PDNCF. This is just an example where you can put text. So you have your text, you can bold it, italicize it, put bullets, you can add a link out to their social media, and you want to definitely choose an image. Now, the image here is what's going to be shown on the page. So if you want to ever look for a fundraiser, you go to find and then fundraisers. Now, this is the fundraisers that have either created a page this year or created a page for the 2020 campaign. Right now, I haven't added an image. So my image is just the overall El Paso Giving Day logo. Now, you definitely want to edit this, either put an image of yourself. I saw some selfies, which is I think a great option, especially if you're fundraising for multiple organizations. And then, or it's like Kyle did, he added a selfie so people know that this is his page. Or you can create your own graphics. Sylvia has a cute little photo here with our 5th anniversary El Paso Giving Day masks. And then we have some logos. But definitely you want to customize it as much as you can. And overall, it will like Brenda has a great explanation why she supports the Borderland Rainbow Center. But Sandra, I see you have your hand up. You can go ahead and ask your question if you'd like.
Sure. I just wanted to verify that. So for anyone who we would be encouraging to start their own fundraiser, we would give them this link and these instructions to set up their own fundraiser.
Yes, you most definitely can. What they're basically going to go to do is go to elpasogivingday.org. And if they're already familiar with the fundraising process or have done peer-to-peer fundraising with either like a walkathon, as Joan had mentioned, or any other type of software, so they're familiar with it, you can just send them to the link and they're just going to create an account, and that's where they go to edit. And you can definitely share this recording with them. If you would like me to share that information with them or have a one-on-one, I'm definitely here to provide that clarification as well. But you can also list them, you can send them to our resources. So we have a special resources button specifically for fundraisers. So you can click on that and there's a little fundraising checklist that highlights this kind of like a timeline of when it would be best to let your network know when to start pushing out your page, when El Paso Giving Day is, and similarly to how to set goals and identify your fundraising goal. Then there's the toolkit so that they can add their own toolkits, add their own photos to social media and the posts as well. So there's lots of different resources available for fundraisers. But again, if they have any questions about the process or just need a little bit of an extra push, you can always send them my way. Awesome. So that is how to create a fundraising page. Victoria, this recording will be available. I will send the link out. It'll also be available within the day on our YouTube account, on the Paso Norte Community Foundation YouTube account, or you can always go to workshops at elpasogivingday.org and click here to watch or click to download the PDF version of the slides of any of our workshops. So this will be available today. But does anybody have any further questions before I go on to the raffle?
Casey, I would just add, I think it was Sandra that asked about giving people the instructions. That's where I would give them a sample blurb so that they can cut and paste it in. So you saw, it starts with a blank space. And so that can be intimidating. What am I supposed to say here? What do I do? So giving them that language to just cut and paste in and a graphic that they can use there if they don't have a photo ready doesn't hurt. And we want to encourage them to customize it, but make it as easy as possible. So when I sent the email saying, hey, I know you've been a donor before, and this year we're hoping that you'll instead be a fundraiser for us, I would include those resources right there in the ask. So it's all as easy as possible.
Yes, definitely, especially for board members, especially when it's difficult to have them involved with fundraising. Just providing just a blurb like Kris mentioned, it goes a long way. But great, so we'll go ahead and go on to the raffle. So thank you all so much for joining me today, joining us with Kris and Joan. Some great tidbits of knowledge on peer-to-peer fundraising. So because you joined us today, PDNCF decided to we have some cute gifts from some local businesses that we would love to give out. So we're going to go ahead and pick one special prize winner. You can come to our offices at 2221 North Kansas. I almost forgot our address. Suite 1900. We will validate your parking to come pick it up. But we are in the Wells Fargo building downtown. So I'll go ahead and click this. It's Sylvia from Loretto Academy Challenge Program. Congratulations, Sylvia. I will definitely be seeing you soon. But if you all have any questions,
Thank you.
of course, thank you, Sylvia, for joining us today. If anyone deserves some special prizes, definitely Sylvia. But everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, thank you, Kris and Joan, for sharing your knowledge with us. And this recording will be available on El Paso Giving website and our PUDNCF YouTube channel if you do need to review anything, as well as the PDF slides will be available. Again, any questions, please feel free to reach out to me via email or phone. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's 2021 El Paso Giving Day campaign. Thank you so much for joining us.
Cassie, I have one question.
Yes.
On the fundraising, can multiple from the board also have a fundraising page?
Oh yeah, there is no minimum or maximum fundraisers an organization can have that creates their fundraising page. Yes, if all of your board members want to create their own page and share with their network, that's definitely highly encouraged. Yes, that would be tremendous. The more the merrier.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Michelle. Well, if nobody else has any questions, thank you guys so much and have a wonderful rest of your week. It is almost the weekend. Have a good one.